So I thought I'd come at this one a little different. I thought I'd go into my crazy brain as we walk through the garden. So I'm just making observations, looking at plant health, looking for bug infestations, the number of fruit. Because I do believe we should probably get these back to 3 or 4 flowers, or at least 3 or 4 fruits once they start setting. And that's going to be on the Romas. The Romas are determinate. So that is something I might research a little bit more because they're not going to put off more flowers. So I make these lists as I kind of go through of things I need to research. So one of them would be, should we prune back our flowers after determinants? Because we do know that the number of fruit is determined. So maybe we don't want to. That is something I'm going to research. Got the peppers, got the carrots. Maybe need to do a touch of weeding around the carrots. Maybe thin them carrots a little bit. But I already know I'm going to be greedy and just see what we get. But that is a lesson that we'll be looking out for. See, maybe we should be pruning some of them. Nice looking Romas though. Probably starting to max out on the height. So I'm pretty happy with the support. Got our indeterminate, better boy. They really come up and put off some big tomatoes, relatively disease resistant, I do believe, from what I could tell. So the idea is to get these to run up this string all the way up. So I'm going to remind myself to make sure that I got my alcohol and my scissors. And before I go from plant to plant, I'm going to clean my scissors with the pruning. But I need to come in and be getting some of these suckers out of here and not let them get quite so bushy, because the idea is to grow these up. So if it's trying to grow a bush, it might not be shooting out like a vine like I'm kind of hoping for. So some of the thoughts as I walk through the garden. I really just relax. I listen to the birds and I observe, kind of take my time. Haven't seen any pest droppings. You might see some droppings in an area of a clear tomato plant, or maybe just the stem is left over. If you got a tomato hornworm giving you a hard time. Now I do spray with BT on most of my garden plants. It helps prevent some of them problems. I do like the BT for sure. I was just reading BTG, some kind of variant of it. I'll have to research that a tad bit more, but that can get rid of Japanese beetles for you. I know them are pesky for everybody. So again, these are indeterminate, and these are going to be big tomatoes. So I'm pretty sure I should be taking areas like that down to 3 to 4 tomatoes, because what that's going to do, it's going to put a lot of weight on here, and I don't want them breaking off and potentially losing all the fruit or having a damaged part of the plant. So that's a mental note I might be taking. More than likely should pluck off some of the flowers on the big better boy indeterminates. I see stuff like this, and sometimes you just have to do it right away. But this grass coming up and then touching the bottom leaves of the tomato is not going to help it with disease. And that leaf right there is probably a no-no. So I want to come in with my scissors and prune that off. We don't really want our leaves touching the soil. That's where some of the fungal issues live, where you really can't get them out of the fungal. It's just part of it, or out of the soil. It's just kind of part of it. So you want to keep your stuff up as much as possible. Same thing goes true with your fruit of your cucumbers and your leaves of your cucumbers. Get them up, let them spread out. You can run them all around. You could grow them on that fence. You could probably figure out how to grow them on this fence with a couple hooks. I got the strings hanging down from above. They're grabbing onto that so far. Tomato cage might work. My mom had a trellis in the shape of a heart last year. I mean, just you can get them up. So I'm observing though with the cucumbers. They are pretty thick on the ground, which is good to keep weeds down, but maybe keep an eye out for powdery mildew or fungal issues on that. But as they grow up, I think I'm going to feel better and better if we get them up these strings. Definitely notice a difference from my tomato plants that are in the buckets and the tomato plants that are growing in soil that I've built over a multi-year, 4 or 5 year period over here with these raised beds, just slowly getting the soil better and better and better. And you can see the health of the plants. And also, especially these black buckets, we've had some 90-degree days. The soil really doesn't like to get quite that hot. So that could be part of the problem. A lot of rain can cause nutrient deficiencies for a little while. pH issues with too much rain, and then, you know, maybe they're just not getting the nutrients. But with that said, we're going to add a little bit of organic nutrients, right, even across the board. I'm thinking they need phosphorus. When you see stuff like this, you definitely have a fungal issue or possibly a phosphorus issue, because the plant's not as healthy as it could be. It makes it vulnerable to the fungal issue. So we need a little bit of phosphorus. We're going to just go even right across the board, NPK, or maybe even a little less on the nitrogen, because we got a lot of green leaves, and I want to grow some fruit, and some tasty fruit, and all the stuff that the P and the K does for us. So again, thought process on that. Probably going to prune some of the flowers off. You see the sheer volume. But now these are cherry tomatoes though, so we can probably go with a bit more on each set. But pruning a few off will not hurt at all, because that's indeterminate. It's just going to keep growing. So if we don't force it to put off quite so much early in the season, I think it'll grow up higher and healthier. Definitely need to prune the bottom leaves on all the tomato plants. I did it once, but you can't hardly tell now at this point. So we need to go through and hit the suckers, hit the leaves, make sure we're cleaning our shears between each cut. If not each cut, definitely each plant. Oh, I forgot about the beans. It looked like most of them had made their way up on their own. But I thought I needed to come through and really help these grab the fence. I did just a little here. It's probably not so necessary. When I come in and really looked at it, I seen that they are kind of finding their way over on their own. Pretty amazing. They look a little yellow to me. From what I heard, you don't need to add nitrogen to the beans. So normally when I see that, I think a little bit of a nitrogen deficiency, the light green and the yellowing on the bottom. So we'll check that out. It looks like we got some pest issues. Been spraying with the BT, like I said, try to help that. Just hit everything with the homemade spray to try to keep the powdery mildew down. Haven't had too much over here, just a little fungal issue on that back tomato plant. So that's getting in my crazy brain on this section of the garden. Hey, we got some more garden outside of the big fence. Let's go check that out and get in my kooky brain some more. Alright, just walked around. Big old peach tree, super happy. Got to finish this fencing out. Need some big wire for the grapes. And we need another layer around the top. So far the deer are being kind to us and not jumping over. We got about 4.5, 5 feet up so far. And that's working so far. Put up our little ghetto gate over here. It's not properly done, but throw up a big 4x8. So that's the back side here. That's where we're just looking. So the grapes need to be pruned back. Definitely too many shoots coming off of them, but I don't really have any wires to put them on yet. Way too many coming off of there. I need to cut that back and get them trained onto the wires for the year. Peach tree's been pruned pretty decent. Got some sticks going straight up in the air that might need to come out. So a little more pruning on the peach tree. Zucchini seems to be doing good, getting nice and pollinated. That was something I wondered, how would our pollination be? Because normally our fruit trees put off a ton of flowers, and we got bees galore. But with the late freeze in mid-Michigan this year, some of your peaches and nectarines and that kind of stuff, we might not be getting a big harvest this year. So there's the zucchini. I think we're July 9th. Put a little reference on the timestamp. So I'm not worrying, just watching to see if these are summer squash up here. I want to see if we're getting pollinated good. If that fell off and didn't become a bigger fruit, that means it didn't get pollinated by the male flower. But it does look like it's still growing, looks pretty healthy. I haven't seen any fall off down here. So I think our pollination's pretty good. We got a lot of white flowers down in with our 1960s grass mix. That's a nitrogen fixture, real soft to walk on. But one negative or positive, however you want to look at it, is it draws in the bees. So hopefully we're still good on pollination. Alright, what does my kooky brain think about as I relax and walk around the garden? Super proud of this right here. Planted way closer than they tell you to. Because before I've always had the weeds come in before the runners. And I ain't doing it again. So we're hoping for a nice green bed of leaves across the top here. Help me keep them weeds down. So I don't have to pull nearly as much. Pretty soft soil in there, not too much clay. Got the perlite going. Let them strawberry roots breathe a little bit. That's what they like. Get them up a little bit if possible. This is only a 2x4, but it's a lot better than planting in. I've planted into this ground before. Tried to keep the weeds out and they just got overtaken. So raise them up a bit. Give them some good TLC close together. And I'm planning on, if we get a ton of runners, which I do hope we do, I'm just going to build another bed and kind of right next door with the runners. But for right now, we ain't got a lot going on right here. This year the focus was the fence. But as I wonder what I should be doing, I look at my watermelon. I think I better get in here and pull some weeds a little bit, help these things out. And I should probably go newspaper and a little more soil right around the edge with them. Because that's just too much weeds. I don't want to be getting the mower all in that close to them. So I mean, done that a little bit, try to help them out, but they definitely need some TLC over in the watermelon section. Blueberries, working on clearing out the grass all around them. Does this work? I don't know, we're learning as we go. Mixed messages, I'll tell you more. We'll find out if that kills off all that grass over there in about 2-3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks. I don't know, you sub, you following along, watching what we're doing. Alright, threw some organic spray on these. Hopefully did a number on that powdery mildew. A little baking soda oil mix. I think it's helping. Alright, as we walk around the garden, wonder what we should be putting on our to-do list. More blueberries, same thing going on there. I think it's going to work. If not, it'll make it really easy to pull that stuff out. Corn, we had a little bit of pest issues. Possibly some flies that are somewhat harmless. This might be a bit of an answer. Oh, it moved on me. I'll have to look that thing up. But I've been hitting it with the BT. Said it could definitely help with what gets down in the corn cob. I don't know the name of it, do forgive me. It's some kind of larvae, caterpillary type of thing. So corn's coming up, we're past knee high. Pretty happy with that. This occasional BT spray. No fruit to worry about this year. I'm going to put these dogs on YouTube if they don't hush up. They're going to be minor celebrities like this one. Nectarine tree, no fruit this year. Not really a lot of peach leaf curl. So fruit trees, we're just keeping an eye on them. They're doing pretty good. Need to get in here and mow. So we got the grass walkways. I gave up on wood chips everywhere. They get mixed in with your soil. They tie up your nitrogen. I'm just going to have my gardens where I have my gardens and just mow right around the edge. Them wood chips are dangerous. I like them and I don't. That's how I made a lot of this good soil that I'm growing these tomatoes in right here. So they're alright if you want to compost them for 7 years. But careful about getting them mixed in with your soil and locking up your nitrogen. Because it takes nitrogen to break down a wood chip. Same reason it suppresses weeds is the reason it might give your garden plants a struggle to grow. So it kind of makes sense if you think about it. Alright, I think I got my to-do list done. And follow along. Maybe we'll do something like this each week or two. Well, definitely will. I'm going to let you see how this goes. See how big it gets, how it turns out. Is the food edible? I think it will be. I think it's going to be delicious. I can't wait. Seems like the perfect answer to all this bacteria and all this stuff that's going around in Michigan on the fresh produce. I think I'm just going to eat my own. All right, follow along, see if these theories are working. And if you got your own garden going, I'm proud of you. Let's get it growing on.